Want to cuff a pair of pants instead of just the ordinary standard hem? I'll show you how. In order to successfully cuff this pair of pants, there needs to be at least 3.5 inches of extra fabric. As it turns out, this hem needs to go up 3 3/4 inches, so we have just enough to do it. Let's begin by marking our 3 3/4 inches. Depending on whether you want your cuff to be 1 1/4 inches wide or 1 1/2 inches wide, mark the next increment. I've chosen 1 1/4. Again, mark 1 1/4 inches. Notice how I'm using the ruler differently this time? Whatever works. Now mark 3/4 inch out. Had we chosen a 1 1/2 inch width cuff, we would probably measure 1 inch out. So see how close we came to the edge here.